So in this video, we are going to talk about how you can troubleshoot a Helix Innovation Suite on-prem pipelines. Those are failing due to our wrong credentials. Now, as you can see, this particular pipeline, which is Helix on-prem deployment, is failing. This is failing on Helix Remedy platform. Now let's look into the console output log. So once you will see the console output, it will definitely throw the failure error. Now let's try to see which is the pipeline which was executing, which resulted into the failure. As you can see, Helix platform deploy is the pipeline which has failed. Now let's try to see the console output to understand why it has failed. So when you open the Helix platform deploy, straight away go to the bottom of this particular console output. As you can see, the end result is failure. Now let's try to see the event which has failed or which has caused this particular pipeline to fail. The general method we follow is just selecting a failure equals to 1. So I'll just search it with the keyword failed equals to 1. So now, as you can see, this is the event on which this particular pipeline has failed. Now, if you will just scroll up, you will try to understand, you will try to get the details, and that will help you understand what is the problem. So it is trying to set up some database, and while setting up the database, the credentials which are given for the database connection, just like Postgres as the user, which is a super user, and the password authentication has failed for this particular user. Now to correct this particular problem, let us go back to the Helix on-prem deployment pipeline. Let us try to rebuild this respective pipeline. I'll just click on the last one. I'll click on a rebuild. So now let's jump to the parameters related to the database inputs. So as you can see, for the database admin user is Postgres. The problem is with the password. Let's try to change the password. Let's try to enter a correct password for this user. Always remember, whenever you will be rebuilding any of the pipeline, especially the Helix on-prem deployment pipeline, it requires you to provide the CSRT file. If you fail to give the file in any specific run, the pipelines will fail again. So please ensure whenever you will be rebuilding, always provide a CSRT file before you click on the rebuild. Now, as we have corrected the value and we have given the CSRT file, let's rebuild this particular pipeline. Now, as you can see, as we have rebuilt the pipeline, let's look into the console output for this particular pipeline run. So now it has completed the generate config. It has progressed further for the Helix platform deploy, where we have made the changes for the database and where the previous failure was. Now let's look into the console output for the Helix platform deploy. When you look into the Helix platform deploy, the earlier failure was at the database level. Now when we search it with the database underscore, this was the situation when it was failing it earlier, as we have given the wrong password for the Postgres user. Now as you can see, the granting role for the AR admin user, creating of the database is successfully completed, and further while creating a database. So it is performing its further activities in the pipe.